We'll now go on to Rule 8. Action to avoid collision. Right? Can you do the honors, please? Start reading the part A. Okay, you can start.
Rule 8. Action to avoid collision. Paragraph A. Any action to avoid collision shall be taken in accordance with the rules of this part and shall, if the circumstances of the case admit, be positive, made in ample time, and with due regard to the observance of good seamanship.
Hold it. 2-3 things he said in this. One is action has to be positive. What next he says? Ample time. And third is good seamanship. Let us understand these terms. And then go ahead. We'll go to the next paragraph later. Positive, ample time, good seamanship. Firstly, what do you mean by positive action?
There should be no doubt.
There should be no doubt. Anything else?
Action which is readily apparent to the other vessel.
Readily apparent to the other vessel. Okay. I think that somewhere else it also says in the rule.
Action as per the rules.
Action as per rules. Anything else?
Passing at safe distance.
Passing at safe distance. Anything else? Anybody? Any other idea for the word positive? There should be no doubt. Okay.
Be sure what is to be done.
Be sure of what is to be done. See, when you say positive, it basically means, yes, without any doubt, be sure of what you are doing, etc. But positive means you are more than 100% sure that you will achieve the result. That's the meaning of the word positive. That means no doubt in your mind, very right, but a little further up to say more than 100% sure. Now if you want to take an example for this, I'll just give you a simple example, because understanding the word positive, mind you, that's what I'm looking at, explaining this term, positive. Now positive means, if you are, let's say, you want to commit a murder of somebody. I know murder is negative, but just for a moment, just assume you want to commit somebody's murder. So you stab somebody in the chest with a knife, pull the knife out, run away. Do you think the person will die or he can survive?
He can survive.
He can survive, so it is not positive. So what you should do? Stab, twist the knife, pull his bloody heart out, intestines out, veins, arteries, everything out, put it in the gutter and go away. Can he survive now? Suppose you stab him, pull his heart out, leave it there and go away. Can he survive? Maybe. Somebody said maybe, isn't it? 1 in 10,000 chance of survival. It is still not positive. Positive means even if the best or the heart specialist passes by, he should not be able to take him to the hospital and ensure that he survives, or even try for survival. Getting the meaning of the word positive? Positive means done, that's it. Nothing else. No chance of, it's not done. So any action to avoid collision shall be positive. Means you should be more than 100% sure you are going to avoid the collision. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Positive. Ample time. What do you mean by ample time?
Sufficient time.
That's another word for ample time, sufficient time. How do you understand this ample time or sufficient time?
Action should be taken well before.
How much well before? How much before?
So that if anything goes wrong, he can take another alternative.
Exactly. What he says is right. Ample time is so much of time that if the other person takes a wrong action, you have some more time to take further corrective action. Like for example, in a head-on situation, Let's say you are here, this is a head-on situation, you are on A, you are at target B, you altered course to starboard by 40 degrees, right? For whatever reasons, B decides to alter course to port by 40 degrees. When you see this, you must still have some more time to alter course and avoid this collision, maybe alter to 90 degrees. That is ample time. Ample time means so well in advance that if somebody else does something wrong, you have time to take further corrective action. You understood now what is ample time? Right. And good seamanship. What is good seamanship? Common sense is normal seamanship. Good seamanship is keeping the other person in a comfortable position so that he doesn't have to get bothered about whether you are taking sufficient action or not. For example, in a crossing situation, you are here, again A, target vessel here B. If you alter and head for this vessel, and then as this vessel comes closer here, you again start heading for her. This is not good seamanship. Good seamanship would be this action so that you are heading well astern of her, ensuring that all the time he is seeing your red light or port side once you have altered. This is good seamanship. He is not in any kind of a doubt, he is not bothered, he knows you take an action, he is going to be peaceful. He will not have to worry whether you are going to take action or not. Again, taking action so much in advance that he doesn't even get a thought of taking action as a stand-on vessel. As a stand-on vessel, that thought doesn't cross his mind that other vessel may not take action and I must take action or I must be careful, keep watching, keep watching, keep watching. No, that is not right. Getting it? What is good seamanship? Good seamanship is this. Clear to everybody or any doubts?
Yes.
Clear? Good. Anything else in this first paragraph? 3 points. Okay. Please read the second paragraph.
Any alteration of course and or speed to avoid collision shall, if the circumstances of case admit, be large enough to be readily apparent to the another vessel observing visually or by radar. The succession of small alteration of course and or speed should be avoided.
So again, this is very simple. Large alteration, what we are talking of here, readily apparent. This vessel was seeing your green light. It was your duty to keep clear because he is on your starboard side as per crossing rule. Large action, minimum alteration of about 40 degrees, or his bearing plus another 5 degrees, so that he sees only your port side. It is readily apparent, right? Observing visually or by radar. Radar, of course, would be restricted visibility, or when you are having too many ships and then. But then, if you look at one ship, you can make out that the other ship has taken action, right? So readily apparent, large alteration, readily apparent to the other vessel. Clear? Right. Even in head-on situation, 40 degrees is readily apparent. Please don't alter by 5 degrees and then watch. Not enough. Another 5 degrees. Not enough. Another 5 degrees. This is succession of small alterations. Please avoid it. The rule very clearly says succession of small alterations shall be avoided. One single action, large action, readily apparent, the other person is happy, you are happy. Okay? Right. C.
If there is sufficient sea room, alteration of course alone may be most effective action to avoid a close quarter situation, provided that it is made in good time is substantial and does not result in another close quarter situation.
Now here he says, if there is sufficient sea room, alteration of course alone is the best action. Now you will also appreciate that alteration of course is readily apparent to the other vessel vis-a-vis alteration of speed. Alteration of speed will be apparent, but it will take time. And alteration of speed will have to be large. If you are going to alter by 1 knot, 2 knots, it will not be readily apparent. It will take very, very long time. But if you are going to alter by a large amount, let's say from 15 knots you come down to 5 knots, or even stop engines for that matter, speed will be lost over a period of time, and then it will be readily apparent. Right? So, paragraph C, just read once again.
If there is sufficient sea room, alteration of course alone may be the most effective action to avoid close quarter situation, provided that it is made in good time and is substantial and does not result in another close quarter situation.
Now, when we discuss the other rules, from rule 13 onwards, overtaking, head-on, crossing, etc., we will go into situations where we need to talk about alteration of speed being effective for collision avoidance in certain circumstances. Generally, alteration of course should be preferred, that is the best action, but in certain circumstances where you do not have sufficient sea room, there is traffic, there are other constraints, you need to alter speed and not course to avoid collision. We will discuss that individually when we go case to case. That means head on, overtaking, crossing, we will talk about it in those rules. Right? Okay, next, paragraph D.
Action taken to avoid collision with another vessel shall be such as to result in passing at a safe distance. The effectiveness of the action shall be carefully checked until the other vessel is finally passed and clear.
Your responsibility doesn't end after taking action. Your responsibility ends after the other vessel is finally passed and clear. Which means you need to monitor the action for the desired results. The desired result is safe passing. Keep monitoring your action. If you had 0 CPA head-on situation, you altered 40 degrees, you are aiming at say 1.5 miles or 2 miles CPA. Keep monitoring, are you getting that or not? Is it safe passing at a safe distance or not? If not, you have all the rights to take further action. Right? So that's what he's telling you here, that you need to take further action if required, and for that purpose you need to keep monitoring. Right? So you can't just say I altered to starboard and he altered to port and so we collided. If you altered to port, then what did you do next? If you have taken action in ample time, when you watched that he altered to port, you had more time to alter more to starboard. So that is monitoring, isn't it? If you altered to starboard, he also altered to starboard. You don't need to take any further action, but you need to monitor that both of you are passing at a safe distance. Right? Clear or any doubts? Clear or any doubts?
Yes.
Very nice. Next.
Paragraph E. If necessary to avoid collision or allow more time to assess the situation, a vessel shall slacken her speed or take all way off by stopping or reversing her means of propulsion.
Now here he says that if you want more time to assess, very simple, reduce your speed. If you want to stop, stop. You want to go astern, go astern. So you can do anything you wish to in order to make more time for assessing the situation. Right? And once you assess the situation, only then you will be able to take proper and effective action. Of course, as per rules. Clear? Or any doubts further? Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, how many paragraphs finished? A, B, C, D, E.
E, sir.
Fine. Next.
F1. A vessel which by any of these rules is required not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel shall, when required by the circumstances of the case, take early action to allow sufficient sea room for the safe passage of the other vessel.
Now, gentlemen, paragraph F is talking about the term not to impede safe passage. Right? 8F1, just remember, he does not use the word risk of collision. He does not use the word give way, stand on, nothing. He just says that you shall take early and substantial action if you are not to impede the safe passage of another vessel. And in F1, it is very clear that you are not determining risk of collision. It is before determining risk of collision, which means moment you see. Now let us take an example on that. Let's say there is a vessel going here in a narrow channel, right? And you are not supposed to impede her passage or safe passage, and you are going here. This is the target vessel, I'll call it T. This is the own vessel, O. Own vessel is here, and your duty is not to impede his passage. So, moment you see this vessel, moment own vessel sees the target vessel, the own vessel as per F1, 8F1, is not to impede his passage or safe passage. What will he do for that? He can alter course to port, he can alter course to starboard, he can reduce speed, he can increase speed, whatever he wishes to do. Now this will depend on circumstances. For example, if you see that this vessel here is a deep draft vessel, right? Instead of deep draft, I would say a CBD vessel constrained by draft. So obviously she is bound to be at a slow speed, right? And you are not to impede her passage. You may think of increase of speed, okay? But it is also possible that this is a container or a car carrier, right, who is going at a very high speed. In such a case, you may decide to reduce speed. Of course, you could alter to port, starboard, anything, right? But you may decide to reduce speed to allow her to pass, right? But both these actions, in the first case for CBD, you increase speed. For a container, because they normally go at high speed, you wanted to reduce speed, right? Both these actions on both the situations are taken without determining the risk of collision. But your responsibility doesn't end there, right? You need to go to F1, F2 and F3. So let us see what F2 says.
F2, a vessel required not to impede the passage or safe passage of another vessel is not relieved of this obligation if approaching the other vessel so as to involve risk of collision, and shall, when taking action, have full regard to the action which may be required by the rules of this part.
That means here, having taken action under F1, you are still obliged to determine risk of collision, and if risk of collision is existing, then your normal steering sailing rules will apply. And as per the steering sailing rules, what situation is this? What is the own vessel supposed to do? Stand on. Initially maintain course and speed, later on if required take action. If required. So it is stand on, which means he's got an obligation under 8F1 and 8F2. He's got a dual obligation. Right? If you read F3, then what does it say?
A vessel the passage of which is not to be impeded remain fully obliged to comply with the rules of this part when the two vessels are approaching one another so as to involve risk of collision.
So this vessel has only got obligation under
F3.
F3. He could be a tanker, he could be a container, whatever he may be. Constrained by draft, not constrained by draft, whatever it may be, his obligation is only under F3, and under F3, steering sailing rules will apply, so he will determine risk of collision, and if that exists, he is the giveaway vessel. Unless of course he is RAM, NUC and all, that's a different story. But otherwise, he is the giveaway vessel, and if he is giveaway vessel, he is supposed to take action as per rules. If he cannot come out of the narrow channel by altering course, what else can he do? He can reduce speed. So if there is risk of collision, he is bound to reduce speed and take action as required by the rules. His obligation is only under F3, but this person has got obligation under F1 and F2. So he got a dual obligation. Initially not to impede, which is without determining risk of collision, and if risk of collision exists, comply with the rules. If it was the other way around, that means if the vessel was going from here like this, then as per F, he is again got F1 and F2, and as per F2 he is also give way. Whether he reduces speed, whether he alters course to starboard to pass astern in a crossing situation, he can choose. Right? And in that case, as per F3, this would be between these two vessels, he would be stand on. Right? So is it clear what we are looking at?
Yes, sir.
Or any doubts?
No doubt.
Is F1 clear, or F1 there are still some doubts?
No.
Clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You can see some blank face. See, okay. Okay, let me just explain it to you a little bit more. You see, when you talk of 8F1, I'm just giving you again an example of the road, which you may say not shipping example, yes. But imagine you are standing in the road there and you want to cross from one side to the other side, and in Bombay you will find a lot of people crossing the road, isn't it? So if you are standing, you want to cross the road, and you see a Mercedes Benz coming. Do you want to cross or do you want to stop? So let him go, because he is likely to be very fast speed. But imagine a truck, especially a trailer with a container coming, and of course at a fair distance, both are at a fair distance. Will you think that you can go ahead? Because the truck is bound to be at a slow speed. If you are getting confused with the truck, replace it with a bullock cart. Imagine a bullock cart coming from a fair distance. What do you think? You can go ahead of the bullock cart or no?
Yes, sir.
Now this is immediate, isn't it? Moment you see, you do it. That is F1. Moment you see it, you do it. Don't wait to determine risk of collision. Right? But if you wait and you see Mercedes Benz coming, but it's coming only at 10 kilometers per hour. So you wait, you watch it, you see it's coming very slowly. I think I can go ahead, and then you may even go ahead of that, isn't it? Possible?
Yes, sir.
Same thing would happen with a truck and a trailer. Maybe he's coming faster than you expected. So you keep watching him, you start moving ahead, you keep watching, and then again you come back. Sometimes you do that because he is moving at a faster speed than you expected. Right? Though on road we don't use the word risk of collision, etc. But similarities are there. So 8F1 is immediate without determining risk of collision. F2 and F3 is after determining risk of collision. There is no guarantee that action under F1 will result in safe passing. It is not said so. It is just an obligation not to impede the safe passage. Right? And this not to impede safe passage will come in other rules. Rule 9, 10. Yes? Narrow channels, TSS, etc. and a few other rules will come in. So we'll look at it when we go there again. But is it clear what we are talking about now?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
sir, in this case of narrow channel, the example that we get, sir, should we still consider it to be a crossing situation?
What situation is it?
Now, like in Rule 18, it says that except where 9, 10 and 13 otherwise required. So, other than that, any other situation, this Rule 18 will take precedence over it.
Yeah. So Rule 18 takes precedence except where Rule 9, 10 and 13 otherwise require. In Rule 13, overtaking, it very clearly states that the vessel which is overtaking should keep clear the vessel being overtaken. Any vessel. It could be sailing vessel, it could be fishing vessel, it could be anything. Right? So that is for Rule 13. Same way, Rule 18 says if Rule 9, 10 and 13 otherwise require, this will apply.
So what I'm asking is the CVD vessel. Does it still have the obligation to keep clear as a giveaway vessel in
Yes.
a percentage?
All the more a reason because Rule 18 says otherwise require.
So that is if my vessel is not taking action, only then he will take action, or he has to take action.
It is a normal crossing rule. The one who is give way will give way. The one who stand down will stand down.
And so one more question: what is the difference between not impeding and keeping clear?
We'll discuss that later, not as part here because we are running out of time. We'll discuss that later. Yeah, thank you.